that you need, what day and time, and just leave it at the City Hall desk, and I'll come by and pick it up and contact you later for more details. Also, the Panther Party, which Mr. Urban Bryan talked about, they were doing door-to-door knocking to let citizens know, one about community service, but also about the Citizens Watch program, right? Yeah, with Councilman Jones, Mr. Joshua Muhammad. So they continue to do that every Friday. So hopefully, some months or 2 months we get around to the whole city, and we just let the citizens know that we're starting this, that Councilman Jones and Mr. Joshua Muhammad are starting this program. I'm gonna do a presentation a little bit later about some of the drainage issues so that we can start looking towards to try to alleviate some of those problems in the city, because we need to be more proactive instead of being reactive. And in that term, and there's a drainage issue. Whenever you go on 290, there is a bank in which water flows, but there was a lot of shrubbery and a lot of issues in that area. So I ended up getting in contact with Mr. Jeffrey Earl from Waller County, and he said he's going to bring some people out there to fix that. Hopefully sometime soon to help alleviate that drainage issue. I had a community meeting with the Panther Hill residents on Wednesday, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. Also, been talking to a couple citizens. 2020 is coming up, and I think we need to address the zip code issue. And once again, get that committee back together so that we are ready for that. So I will be asking to put out new business so that we can start moving forward, so we don't miss the opportunity of expanding the zip code. Also, on the website, there is a citizen complaint sheet, if I'm wording it correctly. It's on, I think you gotta go to the municipal court, or it's on, it's under one of the documents, but I just encourage citizens to go search that and really give your input on different entities like city council, the mayor, public works. That way we can have true feedback on how to operate more efficiently as your leaders, so that way we can come together as a community and as a village and try to push the city forward. So once again, I thank y'all for the opportunity to serve y'all in the great city of Prairie.
You heard a little bit about the contract award for the sewer upgrades, the $350,000 grant that we received with the assistance of project management a while back. The final documents are being signed, the contracts with the vendor that council approved last meeting. So that work should be rolling out pretty soon. Nick Houston shared that the grant was the city had been designated for $740,000, and that could be $720, $750, so that's a good ballpark number that they say we're eligible for as a FEMA disaster declared area as of Hurricane Harvey. The first two games of the new Prairie View Cricket Complex were played a week ago yesterday. I noticed them on my way to church that morning and swung back around because cricket takes a while. But even more important, I forgot which channel on Houston Television News last week did a very, very nice article. All four newscasters not only went on to discuss cricket after the report, but they talked about coming to Prairie View and Waller County. So the interest that is starting. In November, they shared with me that they're planning on doing I don't have the date yet, but it's supposed to be in November, that they're looking to do a teenage or youth cricket competition, expecting somewhere around 500 folks. They're looking for a couple of hundred hotel rooms, and talked with Sodexo on campus, and we're looking about having them spend their money there because we get the sales tax and we don't have a lot of choices, especially they can handle a crowd in the city. But the revenue from these type of things are gonna be flowing in pretty quickly, especially with these numbers, and they're not even finished with their complex yet. There's a group of students through a professor that I know, they're business marketing students. They contacted me, and they had already done their research, but they're looking at promoting our city through the cricket complex. They were interested, excited, and quite a few of them, after looking up the city and the university, they're looking at coming to the university to do their postgraduate degree work and that sort of thing. So Republic Waste, I mentioned last time, it hadn't taken place yet, but we're in the process of converting Brookside Apartments, and there are one or two other situations that we found where it may be just as equitable to convert from those individual trash cans that in some of the places look horrific, to a dumpster, so we can kind of control that stuff. So working on that as well. And sharing with you again, we'll be definitely getting back with council and all those who are interested regarding the new AT&T Federal First Responders Program, to see who wants to be a part of that with our emergency services. Item 7, City of Prairie View 2018-2019 budget. And council, if I'm correct, I need to read this into the record. Councilman Barnes?
Yes.
Okay. Consider an ordinance approving and adopting the City of Prairie View, Texas general budget for the year 2018-2019, making appropriations for the city for such years reflected in said budget, establishing the procedure for intra-budget transfers, and containing other provisions relating to the subject. A, vote on the ratification of the tax rate of 0.45558 to fund maintenance and operation in support of the City of Prairie View 2018-2019 budget. And we need a roll call vote. What's the pleasure of council? On 7A.
I move that we accept item A, or do I have to read it? I move that we approve the ratification, the tax rate of 0.45558 to fund maintenance and operation in the city, operation in the support of the City of Prairie View 2018-2019 budget.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Ready for the questions?
Question. Where's the ordinances come in at? And then where is the actual inter-budget transfers and all of those things? Is that gonna be, I know there's two ordinances, we have A and a B, so do we need to adopt ordinance A in this one? I know B is for number 8.
If you look in the ordinance, the draft ordinance that we provided you, in section 4, it provides a process for transfers on an interdepartmental basis. It's basically, it requires the mayor to recommend a transfer to city council if there's funds available, and then council would approve that by ordinance to amend the official budget.
Councilor, at this point, should I read the resolution into, or the ordinance?
The-
Are they voting on
It's-
A first?
The whole process for adopting the tax rate and the budget have been made kind of stilted by our Texas legislature. So there's a series of hurdles that you have to go through to adopt the budget and tax rate. It requires a roll call vote on the O&M component of the tax rate, then a roll call vote on the debt portion of your tax rate. Then it requires a ratification vote if your budget raises more revenue than it did last year, even if you're adopting the effective tax rate. You have a ratification for that, the approval of the combined tax rates to raise more revenue. And then you have the adoption of the budget. So the first,
7A.
the 7A, so what you're doing in item 7 is you're adopting your budget. And you're doing it by adopting both the O&M portion of the tax rate and the debt service, and then approving the budget. After you adopt the budget, then you go back and then you actually adopt the tax rate to fund the budget. And you have to go through the same roll call votes again. These are roll call votes, so you have to have, we go each person voting individually on each element of those. It's kind of a stilted process. Once you adopt the budget, if you adopt the budget and that tax rate, you're supposed to publish it on your website, and there's a special cover page that's prepared for the budget. And on that cover page, it's going to show your vote for the budget or against the budget. It's going to show the comparison of the tax rates that are broken down here for last year and this year. And then it will have some other statements that the financial advisor.
Okay, so let me carry this motion. Councilman Rowland.
Here, I mean,
Okay?
no, we're not.
7A, roll call. Put on 7A first.
Yeah, my unreadiness is, do we, outside of the roll call, this ordinance for,
That's C.
okay.
Yeah.
That's,
C,
so we're
you're
just
going
doing
to,
A.
C, you're going to approve the whole budget document. A is that you're approving the, one element of the budget, which is the,
So my roll call vote is, 4,
Councilman Randall. 4. Councilman Jones.
4.
Councilwoman Williams. Councilman Wallace. 4. Okay, you have those, Ms. Lee? Okay. B, vote on the ratification of the tax rate of 0.27491 to fund debt service in support of the City of Prairie View's 2018-2019 budget. What's the pleasure of council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Randall?
I move that we ratify the tax rate of 0.2749 to fund debt service in support of the City of Prairie View 2018-2019 budget.
Second.
Any unreadiness? Councilman Rowland?
4.
Randall? 4. Jones? 4. Williams? 4. Wallace? 4. Item C, vote on an ordinance 2018-0924A, approving and adopting the City of Prairie View, Texas general budget for the year 2018-2019, making appropriations for the city for such years reflected in said budget, establishing the procedure for intra-budget transfers, and containing other provisions relating to the subject. What's the pleasure of council?
So we need the numbers to put in here? An ordinance, now an ordinance,
oh,
A. This will,
on the budget ordinance, I don't,
I think I have 2 copies.
the budget ordinance, you would insert from your, now that you've approved the rates.
I'm sorry.
The rates in A and B?
Yes, the rates that you just approved, which for the first, the interest and sinking fund is the debt service, which is the 0.27491, $0.27, $0.27491. And the second rate is your Owen.
45558.
I said it just the opposite of,
I think it is. It's written up on the opposite.
right.
M&O is second.
Yeah, he just-
So that would be 45558.
and with those blanks filled in, then you, yes. approve it.
And section 4 would be the total, the effective tax rate on page 3.
Yes,
The total tax levy. The first one,
I wrote that out here.
the interest on bonds, warrants, certificates of obligation. Mr. Johnson, what's that number?
On which one?
Page 3, top line.
73.73049.
.73049.
What, that's on section 4?
No, that's very top line, top right.
Sec-
73049.
Right.
And section 4, ad valorem taxes levy.
Excuse me, that is the 73049 is section 4. At the top of page 3, it's the .27491 number.
.27491.
Yes, that's the interest and debt payments.
Okay, back to debt service.
Right.
Okay. What about page 2? Are these cumulative and repetitive?
On page 2,
A.
the first number is your interest payment, .27491. The second is O&M, .45558. In section 2, towards the bottom of the page, that's your total tax rate, .73049. And then in section 3, at the bottom of page 2, it's the O&M expenditure, .45558.
And the entire ordinance needs to be read into the record?
The entire ordinance is not required to be read into the record. You'll have to read the caption.
Okay. Ordinance number 2018-0924, A is in Apple, an ordinance providing for the levy and collection of ad valorem taxes of the city of Prairie, Texas for the year 2018, providing for two components to the proposed tax rate, consisting of a tax rate of 0.27491 on each $100 of valuation for the purpose of paying the accruing interest and to provide a sinking fund for payment of the indebtedness of the city, and a tax rate of 0.45558 on each $100 of the valuation for the purpose of funding the maintenance and operation expenditures, each approved by separate motion, providing for the date on which such taxes shall be due and payable, providing for penalty and interest on all taxes not timely paid, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent or in conflict herewith, and providing for severability.
Mayor, it's my understanding that y'all are adopting the effective tax rate. So this,
No, this is not the effective tax rate. This is the last year's tax rate. It's a little greater than effective.
I think we listed what it was.
It's the
but
same rate as what we had last year.
We didn't change the tax rate.
then you have to, there needs to be an approval of the additional revenue
Yeah,
above
I
the
got
effective
that
tax rate.
statement right.
Okay.
I'll put that in.
Then they'll need to ratify that, they'll need to approve that.
But,
That statement is in your cover letter.
right, hold on, but we need to vote on
You
what I
need
just read into the record.
there needs to be a record vote to approve the increase in revenue over the effective tax rate.
There doesn't need to be an ordinance on what I just
No,
read.
that doesn't need to be a
vote.
separate ordinance, that just needs to be a separate vote.
No, yeah, you're saying it needs to be voted.
So it does need to be voted on. Go ahead, Councilman Jones.
I move that we accept ordinance number 2018-09-248.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that council accept ordinance number 2018-0924A as read into the record. Councilman Rowland.
4.
Randall.
4.
Jones.
4.
Williams. 4. Wallace.
4.
Motion passed.
So he's saying that we have to ratify,
We're gonna do it all over again and go for the ordinance.
no, that's on B, but there's another, with JJ, something we have to ratify because
And amount.
because we're over the
Yeah,
effective tax
additional
rate.
monies created by using the current tax rate.
You have to state the amount. Do you have the amount?
It's in your cover letter?
You have the cover letter, I can.
In the mayor's budget.
Yeah. Right at the top part there. You got it?
And then
The increase,
Yeah, right.
the increase is $492,100 even.
Well, let's,
Are you saying that we have to vote on it?
Yes.
So,
We have the amount.
being that it's not an agenda item, how do we?
No, it's part of the adoption of the
It's
tax rate.
adopted.
It's just one of the formalities of the
here it
legislature.
is right here. The budget will raise revenue by $80,471. That's it right.
Yeah,
That's it.
80,000. So the motion,
That's it right.
the motion you make is,
Approve the,
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of the tax rate of 0.73,
Go for it.
049, which is effectively a percentage increase of your tax rate of 9%.
Right.
And will increase your total revenue over last year's effective rate by the
You got that
$80,000.
somewhere right?
And the Texas legislature requires that as a full disclosure of what the effective.
can we just
Say it one
second?
more time.
Can we just
Yes.
second?
you may-
I gotta write this down.
Say it one more time, please.
Okay, the motion is that, let me get my cheat sheet here again. I move, you get it? You just have the copy. I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.73049, which is effectively a 9% increase over the effective tax rate, and which provides additional revenue over last year's effective tax rate of $80,000.
Just say, I move that statement.
All right, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, go
Councilman
ahead.
Randall.
Go ahead.
And then I'll just note that the 9% is a totally arbitrary number
No,
because,
it's the actual number.
well, but the way, it's because it's calculated in accordance with a legislative formula. So it doesn't necessarily correlate to anything other than the legislative formula.
Right.
Councilman Randall.
I move that the budget will raise more revenue from the property tax rate of 0.73049 from last year's budget by the amount of $80,471, which is a 9% increase from last year's budget. The property tax revenue will be raised. The new property added to the tax roll this year is $12,763.
Who was my
And-
second? I'm sorry.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
That's what we,
My readiness before we have a roll call vote, some citizens are looking. We're not increasing taxes, we're saying that we are keeping the rate set, but because we've brought in more revenue and we want to keep that revenue, we have, it sounds as if it's a increase on taxes, but we are keeping the rate the same. So did you get?
And it would also include additional properties.
And what happened was the county increased the value of the property, so while the tax rate's the same, people whose property goes up, their taxes will go slightly up, but it's because of the value, not because of, as Councilman Rowland said, not because of the tax increase.
4.
Randall?
4.
Jones?
4.
Williams?
4.
Wallace?
4.
Motion passed. Anything else we need to vote on? We have budget sample B.
You gotta do 8, you gotta do it all over again.
I move that we accept the 2018 tax rate of 0.27491 to fund debt service.
Second.
Already, don't you don't have to do
You
A?
didn't do it in order, why you didn't do it in order?
Yeah,
Why
like,
you didn't do A?
Oh, I thought we already did.
We gotta do
So-
all of them.
Right, but you put B on the floor, right? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Roll call vote.
Four.
Randall? Jones?
Four.
Williams?
Four.
Wallace?
4.
Okay, that's B. Now we need A. Council?
Oh, I move that we approve the 2018 tax rate of 0.4558 to fund maintenance and operation.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the tax rate of 0.45558 to fund maintenance and operation be approved. Councilman Rowland?
4.
Randall?
4.
Jones?
4.
Williams?
Four.
Wallace?
4.
Motion passed.
C.
See, it's just a vote to approve the ordinance, the caption which has already been read.
I have unread, well,
Yeah, let's put it on the floor.
I move that we accept ordinance number 2018-0942B
Second.
with,
we agreed.
with the adoption of, in section 4, where it says the city council takes cognizance of the fact that in order to facilitate operations of the city and its various departments and activities, and to make adjustments occasioned by events transpired during the year. Some transfers may be necessary to and from some accounts contained within the budget as originally adopted. Accordingly, should the mayor, what I would like to include is the mayor with city council approval from time to time determine that transfers are necessary from unexpended funds in one or more budget accounts to another budget account. And the same may be accomplished without creating a deficit and requirements of any city department or activity. He, she shall recommend such transfers to the city council by attaching such recommended transfers to an ordinance amending the official budget.
Second.
No, she's not finished.
Now,
Upon approval by such ordinance by city council, you gotta
Upon
keep it.
approval.
upon approval of such ordinance by the city council, an amendment sheet reflecting such transfer or transfers shall be attached to the budget as specifically adopted, whereupon the city council should treat such funds as if they had been thus budgeted in the first instance.
Second.
I have unread. Where did you add, in section 4?
In section 4, the second sentence, accordingly, should the mayor before from time to time.
Okay.
And you see that it's already shown twice, it comes back to city council. That's a standard part of it.
In this section, JJ, we've identified, so before we had identified, so on, so what is the procedures, like so section 4 is the procedures for inter-budget transfer, that's not really a procedure. That's just showing how we're, that's a general piece.
Actually, it's not, it actually says, should the mayor from time to time determine that transfers are necessary from unexpended funds in one or more budget accounts to another budget account, and the same may be accomplished without creating a deficit in the requirements of any city department or activity, she shall recommend such transfers to the city council, that's a process, by attaching such recommended transfers to an ordinance amending the official budget upon approval of such ordinance by the city council, and amendment sheet reflecting the transfer or transfers shall be attached to the budget as specifically adopted. That is the process. It says that if I see something requiring budget transfer, it needs to come back in writing to the council, and council votes it up or down. Yeah, that's what bringing it back to council does.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
can we change the shall recommend to,
Shall is mandatory, it's not an option.
So could we?
Unless you wanna give me an option, you can say,
No,
man,
we can say required.
shall is a requirement in our ordinances and definitions. Council,
Legally.
shall means you have to.
Now, the effect of it is, he has no discretion to make the transfer until it comes back to council and gets approved by ordinance.
Yeah, it's taken care of. Unless it's something
It's
else they
saying,
wanna
it's
change.
saying that in order to effect a transfer, he has to bring it back to city council and have an ordinance prepared, approved by city council.
Any other unreadiness? Voice vote, right? Roll call vote.
Roll call vote
Just
on
to
the
be sure.
ordinance, yes.
Rowland,
4.
Randall, 4. Jones, 4. Williams,
4.
Wallace, 4. Motion passed. Anything else we need to vote?
Yeah, we gotta vote, we just did the tax rate, we didn't vote on the budget, right? Or is that what we did? We
He
voted.
did the budget
What
first.
was the budget?
Okay.
Oh, and 9 and 10 were duplicative, if I remember right.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
That should
okay,
have been
because when we
scratched.
got the new language.
Yeah, 9 and
So
10
9
are
and 10 were
not
duplicative, so we can skip both of them, we just took care of them.
No action is what I'm gonna place on minutes.
Item 11, discuss community meeting and vote requesting a temporary injunction against Panther Hills Apartments, Councilman Jones and Wallace.
I have a question. So we voted on the tax rate in both of these. Where did we vote on the budget? And so maybe the process is different now. A and B on both sections, we voted on the rates.
Item 7 was the budget. It says
Read it like this.
No, I've read
adoption of the
that,
budget.
but
Item 8 was the tax rate.
Yeah, see item C on 7,
yeah,
general budget.
Your discussion on section 4 was a little behind. because
no,
you were
I'm
talking
saying,
about-
like, so, like how number 10 is listed, that's a conversation. And what you're saying is number 10 goes away when actually number 10 is the meat of where the conversation is in the budget of like what we just talked about ditch digging, lightings and streets as far as we've approved that. Number 10 says revenue and expenditures budgets for the Prairie 2018-2019.
Right, the budget that you had been presented, the written budget that you've gone over, that was what was approved by item number 7.
No, we could go back, that's what, no, what JJ was saying is, so the total is already there, we can't
That's
adjust
correct.
that. But what we could do is set policy upon where we gonna allocate those funds.
Now, how the money is spent out of that budget now is subject to other state procurement issues, like as a general rule, any contract over 50,000 has to come back to city council for approval. And if city council, I don't know what city council's purchasing policies are, but if you have a lower limit than that on the mayor, then any expenditure you haven't given the mayor authority to make has to come back to city council.